what is transpiring here in the crypto market. And this is the worst case scenario. And this was something we speculated for a while now. If the USA was creating a Bitcoin strategic reserve, would it be from basically the seized assets that they already have from Bitcoin and they wouldn't actually buy Bitcoin? This right now is either the big rug pull, or this is something to keep a lot of people away from crypto when we start to have the crypto, the summit tomorrow. But the timing of this is terrible. I am going to share this, or I'm going to continue talking in just a second, but I had to try to do this like 5 times to get this going. So it literally made this live go on and off like 5 times. So if this pushes out to anybody at all, I'll be happy. But like I said, it was a nightmare just trying to get this to work. But yeah, this is absolute punch in the dick right here, what happened. Jennifer Kupiak, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for 2 months now. I appreciate it. UK Phil, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over a year with the I Told You So Bad, along with Wales, Josie Wales. Good evening, friend. Crazy Paul, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your 3+ months along with Papa Wheelie. I appreciate that. XRP Meteor. Jeremy Ringneck, welcome in. Defined Group, good evening, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge and me being abducted by aliens. I love it. Sunder Warren, welcome in. Navi, Chris, Eddie. Oh, yeah, now it looks like it's getting out there. Boomer Bill, welcome in. Tom, thanks for the late live. You're welcome, Tony. Yeah, I haven't been able to do my lives the way I wanted to for this whole week. I've only been able to do one. I did one on Tuesday, Monday, Wednesday, wasn't able to. I'm at this hotel as my kitchen's being remodeled and, my house is being redone. But I found I wanted to come on now. I was going to wait and see if I was able to, and then we got done with the feeding for my son, and then but we got my son's feeding done, and he's starting to wind down. Julie was good with Scarlett, the 11-year, well, we're getting old now, but 12-year-old. So, 11 right now, but about to be 12 and this year, which is creepy. Anyhow, I wanted to come on because we had some news. We had some news that happened. The market didn't just fall for no reason. I knew something was up when DGB was up 10%, and I couldn't get excited about it because MXC was down 9.5% before the clock flipped. I knew something had to be up. And then all of a sudden, about 10 minutes after MXC just started dropping, we had this announced. And this is not good. Trump signs order to establish strategic Bitcoin reserve. But, so it says Donald Trump signed an executive order on Thursday to establish strategic Bitcoin reserve. White House crypto czar David Sachs said in a post on X, the reserve will be capitalized with Bitcoin owned by the federal government that was forfeited as part of criminal or civil asset forfeiture proceedings, Sachs said. This is already Bitcoin that's already been bought. This does no good for anybody. Like, they made it seem like they were going to buy a whole bunch of Bitcoin and make it the reserve. No, they just took what they stole. So as I said before, the worst case scenario, and it's been a month or two since we talked about this, but actually maybe a few weeks, but the worst case scenario in this would have been that they used the seized Bitcoin. And that's why, if you're buying for the first time, or you're looking and you bought high and then you're buying the dip, this could be like 2021 all over again, where the dip just keeps on dipping. But this is right before the crypto summit, meaning this is what you do to ruin it before it even starts. This is the kind of news that is going to cause this to be a catastrophic drop. And the bullshit they did on Friday, this is seeming to be like we might have to get out of the way of crypto at some point. If they can, and I'm not saying it's right now, but we're getting to a very fine line right now. Everything is going red because Trump signed an executive order for the Bitcoin reserve, but they're going to use the Bitcoin from the seized assets already, so they're not going to buy any new Bitcoin. This is the worst case scenario. Like, if you want to talk about a worst case scenario, this is the worst case scenario. So President Donald Trump, and let me do the intro and then we'll talk about this. Good evening. 7:52 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Thursday, March 6th, 2025. I'm XRP future millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. And as we talked earlier, we just, well, maybe this was in the Telegram, but we were talking about how Trump has X amount of XRP, but it was gifted to him. So there's two very different things. One, if somebody's giving you it as a gift, that means at some point you're going to be, it's a payout, it's a bribe. So at some point you're going to be looking to sell that. If he had bought it on his own, it's a completely different story, because then it's it's a investment. He didn't invest in it. This just seems like we're fucked in a way. This, if tomorrow doesn't give what if we need, you could see a significant dump going into the weekend. Like, that's the problem here. They just put a very bearish, this is very bearish in the short term. Unless something changes here. We already know the government has over 200,000 Bitcoin. We already know this. We've talked about this for years. And everybody feared that they were going to sell with Mt. Gox. Well, I don't know. We're going to need some kind of catalyst here that's going to come through. But the whole Bitcoin strategic reserve, it doesn't sound much like a strategic reserve anymore, does it? It just sounds like a strategic way for the government to steal funds and never give it back to the rightful holder. That's what it seems like to me. And they say it's through crime and all of this, but now the government is not going to be forced to sell it. So I don't know, man. I'm not saying that it's going to dump. I'm saying in this initial short term, we're dumping because of this. Now, in the grand scheme, we're still in fear. So when you can dump when you're in fear, in extreme fear, this is technically not the time to panic. It's quite the opposite. And we're going to have to see where this finishes. Oh, now it's at 34. See, that's the wrong way. Too many people got sucked in. See, they did it again. They did it again. They always do it. They always do it before a weekend and before some kind of big moment is about to happen in crypto. They always put the fire out before it can blow. I'm telling you guys, this is not good. What does Trump using Bitcoin have to do? It's who gives a fuck about Trump? This is the U.S. strategic reserve of Bitcoin. What do you mean? What does it have to do with it? You see the market? This is, it's a way to liquidate positions. It's a way to liquidate positions. But yeah, the longs got liquidated. The shorts got liquidated yesterday, on end of the weekend when they had the announcement on Sunday. But no, this reeks. This reeks of something deeper. And this is when I said, when they start to go the approach of always talking regulations and they've got to do something to make regulations warranted, this is where you're going to get it. They're going to rug pull an entire bull market, probably. And it started with the meme tokens, and it's just never ended. And when you start to see things gain 25% and immediately give back 30, that's not a bull market. I'm just saying, though, in bull markets, you're not supposed to get more red than green. I've been saying it for weeks. This doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like it's supposed to dump. But if they're trying to push in regulation by enforcement, they're going to have to liquidate and rug pull and make it so obvious that there's so much corruption going on. And at this point, I mean, at this point, the one and only YouTuber that doesn't go live, and I find myself here. Are you talking to me? That'd be pretty funny if you were. Vince, are you the one and only YouTuber that doesn't go live, and I find myself saying, where is this guy at? I'm the one and only YouTuber that doesn't go live. Or do you mean that does go live? I'm not understanding. I go live every single day. I've been doing this for 4 years. I'm not sure what you mean. It's an illusion. Thank you so much for the donation. I really appreciate that. I'm not going to say any more, Vince, until you respond. I want to make sure if that was a misprint or not. I said before when Trump was pushing that he was pro-crypto, what did I continue to push? Oh, thank you, Vince. I didn't want to say anything stupid because I didn't know what you were trying to say. I apologize. Yeah, no. This week, don't worry when I don't go live, only because I'm not at my house. You know, they're remodeling my kitchen and stuff. It was overdue. But I usually go live once a day. In the morning when I do that 20-minute video or 10-minute video is Monday through Friday. That's just an update. I talk to everybody like I'm in a live still. But then I usually do one live at night. Unless it's Saturday and Sunday morning, I'll do a live. Now, I appreciate it, Vince. I appreciate you being concerned. I was like, what do you mean? I do go live. But then I knew there was an angle there because I see you in here all the time. Like, I know he knows I go live a lot because he watches and he comments. You're a big part of it, too. But anyhow, I digress. I apologize. I'm a little hot right now because of what's going on. When I seen the news, I said, this is too obvious. Like, this is too obvious. I hope the reason they did this, because we always want to go in red. You don't want to be buy the rumor, sell the news. This is a very big case. Now we're selling the rumor. Because now the rumor is, you know, crypto reserve's not going to get built. As far as Bitcoin's reserve won't get built through new money. See, that's the thing, guys. It's the new money. People would become FOMO related or FOMO rhythm or FOMO built if we had new money coming in. Now, when people read the crypto reserve is going to be filled, at least Bitcoin's part, when we know that's the largest part of the reserve. Anybody can say what they want. It just is. And the fact that Trump owns XRP, but he didn't buy it, he was gifted it, that's a huge red flag. And I said before Trump got elected, I said, what if he's just catering to the crypto crowd? Because before in 2000, what was it? When he won in 18 or 17, he was firmly against crypto. So then he ran as the crypto president. What if that was just so that he could be elected by the general public that traded crypto as well? I mean, there's things we need to look at. But I don't think that what he said is the reason why this dropped. I think there's something else going on. Like, they use those as the cover stories, but just by typing that, retail can't do this. Remember that. It don't matter if all of retail sold out. We're not able to do this across the market. So there's something deeper that went on, and I believe they could be lining up for tomorrow. I was actually encouraged to see this. Yes, I had to come in with the bad, right? I had to talk about the bad first. But I'm actually encouraged that it dumped the day before. Is this a moment where we get that big liquidity grab? And then we can start doing what we need to do. Now, a big red flag before we even got the news is that we got rejected. And it was a big rejection. And we talked about it yesterday and this morning. The updated was 258. When we came up again and immediately pulled down, we knew something was going on. Like, I almost came on earlier, but there was no way because I was at my son's therapy and I could only do a short. But when we came up here, I think when I got back, it was about 5, 4, maybe about 4. This started happening. And once we started pulling down, like, what is going on here? Like, every time we go up, there never is the follow through on the next daily for some reason. Like, that was a pretty inverted hammer candle, followed by a reversal candle. But then what happens? We get a long leg doji reversal, and that's a huge reversal right now. I mean, you can't even make that up. That is by definition, that's a horrible candle in the daily. I mean, that's brutal. Now, unless this pulls back up and this is the bottom and then it ends up closing towards the top and it's a very bullish close, that's a horrible candle going into Friday now. This completely reversed everything we were seeing. And now these big wicks on the top, now you have to look at these. And this is the problem when something like this happens, right? A dump today is definitely promising before tomorrow. You'd rather see a dump going into tomorrow because then any sign of good news in the market could lift off. But now you have to look at these being exhaustion, back to exhaustion. Now, where would the exhaustion be? If it came down here, would it be 225? Or would we have to keep seeking out the further exhaustion? Like, this is what I mean. And the other big part of this is the fact this is where we have to make this a hammer candle. This has to end a hammer candle. It just has to. These have to end up being hammer candles. See how the big wicks are? If this goes too far and this ends up playing off in the 4-hourlies and like 3 hours from now we're below that 242 resistance. Like, this is where it gets ugly. Because now you fall down below the 250 or the 258, which was 262. But I'm just going on the downtrending resistance. Now everything we drew out was right, but now is it going to be able to hold, or is it just going to fall through? Instead of doing this, is it going to come back down to support again? If it does, then it turns almost like into this rising channel that's starting to develop. So like there's a lot of noise here, but I want to read through that article that came out, that, or what happened that caused this. Like some have said, DGB was looking pretty good before that came out. It's still not looking bad. DGB could be another outlier here, but it was up, got up about 13%, and now it's at this major resistance that, again, we've just not been able to get past this 92927, 0092927. Do you think we're reaching market cycle top nearly time? That was my fear in January. I mean, in December, when I did that video about selling 70% of my stuff that I had in profits and that I had from the beginning. And then I cycled into other things that ended up railing as well. But that was my fear in December. Once we had the meme token stuff by Trump, I thought, you know, normally if you're ending a season, you come in with the memes and you rally out with the memes. Well, unfortunately, this time, where the hell was the altcoins? Like, sure, XRP's at $2.40, but for all intents and purposes here, the alt tokens look like hell. Like hell. Like, look at even something like ADA that was got all this energy, right? Because it was part of the crypto reserve, strategic reserve. Now, for me, my whole focus, if ADA goes down, I may not have been a fan before, but if it comes way down again, I'm buying it. I'm telling you right now, this is one I'm going to cycle hard on if it comes down. And it might have already come down as far as it needs to, but I'm saying if this comes down and it breaks this and this is a topping reversal, I will go hard on ADA, despite my hate for Charles Hawkinson. Keep calm, Tom. We don't have JW in here to keep you in check. Sure, Miss JW. He's here, but for some reason, he can't comment. It's ridiculous. And it doesn't show him as a blocked user. It doesn't show him anything. There's nothing I can do on my end. I don't know what is going on. I reached out to YouTube, and they are just full of excuses. But CJ2 Pilot, thank you for the $4.99 donation. And Joseph Kukbiak, thank you for the $2 donation as well. A small contribution for some positivity. Oh, this is positivity, my friends. Don't mistake what I'm saying for bad. This is positivity. We're just trying to figure out all angles here. While Trump was gifted, what was it? Was it 500 million XRP or something? Or I don't remember exactly, or 500 million worth of XRP. So whatever he owns was gifted. Let's see. I mean, exactly, this is beyond Trump's control. Guys, as much as I want to disagree or agree with that statement, it is beyond his control. But who is the perpetrator of the meme token nonsense? Like, I love Trump, so I'm not gonna argue with anybody about if Trump's good or bad, because I think from a business perspective, good, but from the connections with the BlackRock, bad. You know, but that's business dealings. But listen, when Trump started this with the meme tokens, you can say all the good or bad you want. I'm just simply staring statistics. When it happened, I said, good night, sweetheart. I sold 70% of my big profits. I said it, and I got criticized. And what's happened to the market? We're like 40% down from when I said that. So you can say whatever you want, but the optics suggest that's bullshit. The statement you made. Trump is not helping the crypto market because even if I wanted to say he wasn't, I wanted to lie to my audience, he perpetrated the meme tokens that single-handedly flushed the alt tokens. And you can say it was other people or utility tokens. So it's just, I don't know, it's a weird thing. And I remember what he said in 2021 or 2017, that he hated crypto when he was running. He ran against crypto. So you want me to think it just changed 4 years later? No, I just think what happened, or 8 years later, it changed because it was crypto popular right now. But what's changing too, you got to remember, we're going into this digital no matter what. So most of this is going to be optics. So you find your positioning and you live by the sword. You know, you live by the sword. And I'm not saying it's a bad or good thing. I'm just saying there's optics out there that we've got to go around. And right now, from what I'm seeing, it still doesn't feel right to me. I still don't think that this market is done. It just doesn't seem like it to me. Unless by manipulation this just doesn't go up, it would be historic if this doesn't break up from the positioning we're in. I'm just saying, if this doesn't play out to a wave 5, this would be a historic ending to one of the worst bull runs in the history of crypto. Sure, you can talk Bitcoin was good. Sure, you can talk XRP finally reached levels it hadn't seen since 2018. But for the majority of crypto, the alt tokens, the utility, the ISO, and IoT, it was a disaster so far. This has been nothing short of falling flat on your face and sucking everybody into the party and just spitting them out. The problem with this is a lot of people made a lot of money. I myself have done tremendously well. A lot of people in this audience have done tremendously well. The problem is a lot of this audience found me after the bull market started. You know, out with the old, in with the new, they say. And that's so true. Because now the newer people that have found me they have no idea what's going on. They're like chickens with their head cut off. But the ones who have been here are like, we've been through this before, just not in quite this fashion. But I'm going to continue to tell you, there is a lot of evidence here that we can break up here out of nowhere. That's my thing. There's a big part of this that tells me that this isn't close to being over. Like, if you want to look beyond the optics, you know, there's a big part of me that says, let this die before you give it up. You know, let this die. But I was very vocal at one point about taking profits when XRP was at $3.30, when the rest of the market was up 40%, when Bitcoin was at 107,000. And there was a reason why I pushed that message, because I've seen this cycle. This is my third cycle now. Every time meme tokens come in like a lion, altcoins go out like a squealing fucking toad. That always happens. The utility tokens always take it always happens. The only way we can look at this is like Dylan said. Hopefully this is the liquidation of the longs before a big catastrophic reversal by the US government. And I agree with that. Maybe that's what this is. Maybe that's what this is. If you guys want to talk about left field real quick, the SILJ, because I wanted to get some exposure to junior silver miners, but I didn't want to just have one company. This ETF finally paid a dividend for the first time in December, and I've been watching it very closely. And I was waiting for a little bit of a pull down, and now we've had one here. We have what looks like could be an inverse head and shoulders. So I think it was at $11.17, or it's either $11.17 or $11.07 when I bought it. It was earlier today. I want to say it was $11.17. And I'm building into this right now. And I took actually something that I had in Murphy's. It was Murphy's oil. And it paid a 5-point-something% dividend. But with what's going on with all this stuff, it feels like oil could continue to have like a little bit of a bear market here. So I'm just going deeper into my precious metals, my commodities, I should say. So if this does end up breaking down, I'll just build into this all the way down. But it does look like to me there could be an inverse head and shoulders playing out there. So I wanted to have a little bit of exposure to the ETF. It's $4,000 worth, roughly, but I have a lot of other things, you know, and commodities that are on the screen. And like again, today, Fortuna Silver Mines was up 4%. First Majestic flat. B2 Gold down 1.79. And Newmont was up about 0.16. Where the hell is Barrick Gold? Barrick Gold was dead flat. That's unusual. Joseph, thank you so much for the $10 donation. I really appreciate that. Hey, and I do appreciate that so very much. Thank you for paying it forward. But like I said, I'm very hopeful that this is just a liquidation of the longs before the move up. You know, before tomorrow's summit meeting. It's just always interesting how they put these optics out right before this stuff happens. This I don't like. I don't like the fear and greed index rising to 34. That needed to be cut. Now people are all of a sudden getting a little too greedy for where we're at, thinking that this is, you know, they were buying the real dip. The real dip happened in the bear market. So, oh, absolutely, Louisville. And thank you for being in Tom's Army for over 3 years with the XP Diamond Hands. But a perfect case of the government never telling you they're stealing from you. Because look, they were supposed to sell that crypto or the Bitcoin that was seized and give it back in some cases to the ones who got ripped off. And now look what they're doing. Oh, we're not going to sell it. We're just going to keep it and make it part of our reserve. It's pretty funny. It's Pretty funny. Can't make it up either. You cannot. The U.S. government holds no bounds with screwing its people over, and I'm not going to say much more than that. But it's unfortunately, I'm going to turn this back on. Unfortunately, because I like the way that looks a lot better. Unfortunately, that's the truth. And now look at today. They get everybody wild up with the. You don't think they could have released this executive order? I don't know, Sunday when they made that announcement about the crypto reserve. Wouldn't it have made more sense? So, and isn't it amazing? Because a lot of people don't want to acknowledge the manipulation in crypto. Isn't it amazing how everything dumps at the same time? And then all of a sudden the market, when it was dumping at the same time, they all reverse at the same time. Yeah, sure, some are down 6, 5, 4, 2%. But isn't it funny how they'll drop at the same time and all of a sudden start rounding at the same time? The only one that to me is doing exceptionally well in this is DGB. I'm telling you, DGB is getting very close, and DGB doesn't need the rest of the market to run. There's a few of them like this. DGB, you've got ZIL, you've got VChain, you've got AMP. See, I would pay attention to AMP as well. I know it's dropping here, but it's actually in a buy zone. As long as it, like, you could theoretically make a play here at 438, 437. And as long as it didn't lose 415, you could theoretically play this descending wedge breakout. And I'm not talking about leverage. I'm talking about just in a long trade. Fuck, you'd have like 8% there too. Jesus Christ. But like, that's what I'm saying. All of these are on descending wedges. These are not bearish reversals. You know, it's not a bearish reversal. Honestly, yes, and I'm glad that somebody brought up Kava. I've talked about Kava for a long time. I just haven't brought it up in 2025 probably. I'm glad somebody brought it up because what's happening with AI, that's actually a, oh man, I love it. I can't even describe. If I could, I would shake your hand right now for bringing that up. You literally just slapped the sense back into me. And I know Kava was diving. That's why I hadn't bought it. Because I really wanted to find a spot to buy a nice amount. Oh my God. A nice amount of it. And ooh, it's really it's in the area now. It's getting in the area. That is for sure getting in the, I mean, you're going back to 2020 now, and this is, oh man. It looks like it's in a good buy area. I'm not saying like to buy it today, but let's do some analysis real quick. This is about a straight support, well, not straight support, but this is what it fell down under. So first thing we need to establish is what's the optics, or what's the most logical outcome from here? Okay, we fell through now. Yeah, it's not the best thing right now, but is it something like that, or was it actually something like this? See, that's where people get caught up a little bit. Now, if you just look at it a little bit deeper, right? Doesn't that make a little more sense what we're looking at, right? That's a bearish, or I mean a bullish consolidation right there, as it looks like it's forming a descending wedge. Now, there are optics here. You have to hold this area. So we're not going to want to come below 17 cents if it were to have a fall through. But it does look like boom, boom. This could be an inverse head and shoulders here. This could really be an inverse. Now we're looking for the next little setup. Like, where could we get an extension? Where could we get a consolidation? How could we pull through this? Man, I can't believe you brought up Kava. I'm so happy because it was off my mindset for a little bit. But then I was trying to wait this out. Look how stupid I am. I waited it out perfectly. Oh, yeah, and then it ran up. I remember we talked about it during the run-up, and I'm like, son of a bitch. How could I forget about this? No, this is actually, that's so fucking crazy. Excuse my friends. I don't know why I'm swearing so much. I'm not at home. That's why. Right there. That's the money right there. If that uptrend holds, that's the new extension out. And then if you just look at this logically like this, I think we can agree. Yeah, there you are right there. That's going to tell you right now. This is your make it. So somebody asked me if it's a make it or break it. Or you guys should have listened to me back a couple years ago when my niche was swearing at my audience. And yeah, I mean, I was good at what I did, but the way I attracted the audience was I basically told everybody F off. And if they disagreed with me, I said, you can, yeah, I'm sure you understand. Can't quite do business that way with what I'm trying to accomplish. And I would simply have my go-to line, get with it or get the fuck out. Sometimes it makes it so much easier to be in that mindset. Yes, the Lewis days for sure. That was the problem. That's the problem. A lot of people weren't even paying attention to what I was saying. They just wanted to tune in because they couldn't believe I was telling people this. They're like, you're never going to build an audience if you tell your audience this, go fuck off. And I was always like, well, you know, it's built me an audience of 10,000 people somehow. Nobody would have even listened. In my first video, I didn't talk like that. But after, you know, there was a reason. Anyhow. Oh, yes, Bob was a big part of that, too. I'd go into all that, but I really can't rant tonight because I've been ranting, but only got so much time. But this could be a big inverse pattern setting up here. I like that you guys asked me about this right now. I hate when somebody asks me when it's up here, up here, up here. I like it when it's in the consolidation, maybe an inverse part of the consolidation. But remember, we usually break down 70% of the move. So support, resistance, resistance, support, missed resistance. 70% of the move would probably be somewhere around, see, that's all the way January of 26. That's, oh my goodness, that's a bit, wow. Okay, well, so this still has a long ways to go in the sense of if it consolidates truthfully. That's a long ways down. I think you get the picture of what I was trying to say. Or sorry, I got caught up with that, but that's going to be on my radar. I need to pay attention to that, especially if it comes down sub 30 cents for some reason. Oh boy, you might be seeing me buy 10,000. If that comes under 30 cents, I'm going to probably buy 10. I'm going to buy 10,000 tokens. Now, I don't know if it's going to get down there. I don't. But I think I behoove myself to buy it before it comes even down to 32 because you got to find some kind of support. So it looks like the market could drop just based on everything I'm seeing. Wouldn't that be a kick in the old testicular fortitude there if it did come down here tomorrow and the whole market like dumps 1/5? What if the whole market gives back 1/5 of what it's worth tomorrow? Oh yeah, ADA. That's what I was saying that at the beginning of this. I will go hard in on ADA if it does end up dumping. Like, look at this. These are going catastrophic now. Just at the levels they're at. These are the levels where most people won't look at them, but this is where opportunity is. Like, you want opportunity. If you want opportunity, we're starting to find it. You know, we're starting to get to that area. But we're bouncing back nicely. Like, that's what I'm saying. Kava might be at that inverse right shoulder to where it might be given a last chance there. But let's read through this. It's already been 33 minutes. I talk so much, I can't help it. I have the gift of gab. There's one thing I can't deny is that I can talk forever without saying a single damn thing. But I still sound interesting, even if I'm talking about my socks. Trump signs executive order establishing U.S. strategic Bitcoin reserve. President Donald Trump signed an executive order on Thursday creating a strategic Bitcoin reserve, marking a major shift in U.S. digital asset policy. White House crypto and AI czar David Sachs. Yeah, I heard Charles Hawkinson said that. He said he was surprised about the reserve and that he didn't even get an invite. But what else would he say? Would he say, oh, yeah, we had a deal in the back end and I paid him all this 88? I mean, I think he said what he had to say. But I'm a little surprised, and that makes me even more intrigued. White House crypto and AI czar David Sachs, a Silicon Valley venture capitalist. That's a multi-millionaire, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars, but they buy projects when they're very off the radar, basically when they're in their infancy stages, and they become like a seed investor, they call them. No, they're not spreading their sperm around, but they're spreading their seed, which is their money. That the reserve will be funded, well, I'm sure they're spreading the seed as well. With Bitcoin seized in criminal and civil forfeiture cases, ensuring that taxpayers bear no financial burden. That doesn't seem fair, because the U.S. government had to pay the taxes for you to seize these Bitcoin. Now, the honorable thing would do to be selling them to pay back your, the national debt and pay back the taxpayers who helped you seize these Bitcoin. That would be the real honorable thing to do. Bitcoin, though, no full audit. So according to estimates, the U.S. government controls approximately 200,000 Bitcoin, though no full audit has ever been conducted. Trump's orders mandates a comprehensive accounting of federal digital asset holdings and prohibits the sale of Bitcoin from the reserve, positioning it as a permanent store of value. Just a few minutes, and this is what David Sachs said, just a few minutes ago, President Trump signed an executive order to establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve. The reserve will be capitalized with Bitcoin owned by the federal government that was forfeited as part of criminal or civil asset forfeiture proceedings. This means it will not cost taxpayers a dime. It already has cost them a fortune. See, that's what they don't tell you. It is estimated that the U.S. government owns about 200,000 Bitcoin. However, there has never been a complete audit. The EO directs a full accounting of the federal government's digital asset holdings. The U.S. will not sell any Bitcoin deposited into the reserve. It will be kept as a store of value. The reserve is like a digital Fort Knox for the cryptocurrency often called digital gold. It's not digital gold, it's digital trash. Premature sales of Bitcoin have already cost you, as a fan of gold and silver, I'm insulted every time I see digital gold. You mean digital Ponzi? I would just call it the DPS, digital Ponzi scheme. And now we're getting to the last buyers and sellers of last resort, as always, the U.S. government. Premature sales of Bitcoin have already cost U.S. taxpayers over $17 billion in lost value. Now the federal government will have a strategy to maximize the value of its holdings. Oh, we already know what that is. We already know what that is. They print money out of thin air through Tether. They tank the market within the first 48 hours of that Tether being released, and then they buy it all back. And they sell it, and then they rinse, repeat. The Secretaries of Treasury and Commerce are authorized to develop budget-neutral strategies for acquiring additional Bitcoin, provided that those strategies have no incremental costs on American taxpayers. In addition, the executive order establishes a U.S. digital asset stockpile consisting of digital assets other than Bitcoin forfeited in criminal or civil proceedings. Are you listening to this? They're creating a U.S. digital asset stockpile consisting of digital assets other than Bitcoin forfeited. Hold on. Let's play. Son of a bitch. Now I figured it out. I don't want to say it. Why did we start the lawsuit against XRP Ripple when they knew it was bullshit? And now it's a crypto reserve, right? How are they going to get that? Oh, I don't know. What settlement is coming up that they want $250 million or 125 million? That's a lot of XRP to put in the reserve. Son of a bitch. Makes too much sense. Fuck, man. The purpose of stockpile is responsible stewardship. Hold on, let's see. Think about the lawsuit with Ripple XRP. They created a stockpile of different crypto reserves, right? This is what happened. They created the case in 2020. They got XRP Ripple non-security status. It's not a security, but they tried to make them pay a $2 billion fine. That now it's at like 125 million, which would be paid in XRP to go in to, you guess it, the crypto strategic reserve without having to actually buy a single XRP by the U.S. government. Some are saying, is it a good thing? No, it's not a good thing, because now all they have is something to sell instead of hold and buy. They front ran the whole damn move. And that's why they pumped it up during Trump's election. Son of a bitch. You're not understanding coins. So 125 million is not a lot for XRP, but for the crypto reserve, imagine how much XRP would have moved just knowing the government bought 125 million worth out the gate. Now the first stockpile of XRP is going to be through the settlement of a lawsuit on whatever figure they come up with. Like, that's what I mean. Not just that, Trump was donated $500 million worth of XRP or something crazy. There was how many XRP donated by Chris Larson to the U.S. government, and Brad Garlinghouse, we all kept saying, why do they keep sending it to the government? They were secretly building a strategic reserve for a tax write-off and a partnership at the big table. It just became too obvious. Yep. C-Money, bingo. He said that's why Trump was cool with announcing XRP as a reserve, because they had no intention of buying it. Because they already owned it. See? Oh, that 125 million, remember it got put in escrow when it was at what? 35, 40 cents, 50 cents? So yeah, it's been in escrow since 50 cents. You know, to pay the government when it was ready. So whatever they put in there at 50 cents, it's the amount of tokens that, remember, it's not 125 million worth now. It's 125 million worth at 50 cents. That's the thing. Remember they put it in, oh, son of a bitch. Remember they put it into locking in an escrow so nothing could be touched, and they set the amount to the side at the time of what the value was. I told you there's always a reason to this. There's always a... And when I was reading through that, it was all playing through my head, and I had like a screen playing in my head, and I didn't want to acknowledge it. Oh, I didn't say they were dumb. I didn't say that they were dumb. I'm just saying you got to have 5D chess, and that's why oh, man. Guys, listen. Now they're using the propaganda of war to make it look like that's what caused the market to drop. Aren't you guys reading between the lines? That was all bullshit with the war talk so that they could hide this. Oh, God. It's always the same thing. Oh, they cut me off. They cut me off. I figured they might. Can you guys even see me? I think they cut me off. I'm not going to lie. I think I got cut off. It made the beep. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Oh, you can still hear me? Oh my God. Yes. Every time it beeps like that, it's the signal going away, and it's like they cut me off. This is awesome. Let me finish reading this before I do get cut off, because I'm speaking too much truth now. I don't know how 412 people found the word, but you guys have just heard. I might have to make a video about this. I may have to make a video about what just happened and what we just thought about. So the purpose of the stockpile is responsible stewardship of the government's digital assets under the Treasury Department. Promises made, promises kept. And how much crypto have exchanges stolen from us? Do you think the government is behind this and they're paying off the government and all of our missing crypto that goes dormant that we can never get back? I wonder where it finds its way into, whose pockets. You're right. But you know, it's not over. This is a way to get, you know, this is where you have to be smart about it. You know, this is where we have to be smart about it. Oh, I know, Jeffrey. That was, but it's all a reality now. Like, we could have thought something a while ago, but doesn't this make it reality what we're seeing now today? Officially. I've seen a lot of people talk about Pi Network. Only problem I have is, how's the withdrawal process going when the KYC is not widely recognized? Like, I don't understand. A lot of people can't withdraw, but they're so convinced that it, I don't know. We'll see. President Trump promised to create a strategic Bitcoin reserve and digital asset stockpile. These promises have been kept. Not really. They didn't build any stockpile. It was handed to them. That's a lot different than building a stockpile. See, never get too excited when the government's telling you something. Never get too excited when every single person in the world is telling you crypto is a good buy. Never get too excited before it's time to get excited, is what I've learned. I want to thank the president for his leadership and vision in supporting this cutting edge technology and for his rapid execution in supporting the digital asset industry. His administration is truly moving attack. I don't need to read that line of bullshit. So we seen what we needed to. Basically, the U.S. government already has their crypto reserve, is basically what's going on. If I'm being honest. There's a lot of people that are Don, regardless, U.S. got it for free, but other countries, where you don't think the other governments are doing the same thing? But no, I hear what you're saying. I'm just I'm playing devil's advocate right now. I'm trying to see what kind of intrigue the audience can give me as I give you, because this is I mean, this is bullish for gold eventually here. I know maybe not initially, but all of these are gonna, one day we're gonna see these commodities and we're gonna say, what the hell is going on? What's going on is, remember, money finds yield. Eventually retail gets a little sick and tired of being sick and tired, you know, and that's good. We want retail to be sick and tired of being sick and tired and leave. We're not leaving, but we want retail to leave. But I can tell you right now, this right now, yeah, I have a bad feeling the summit is exactly what, who just said that? What if the summit is the see? Samir, yes. He said, what if the summit is to see who's willing to play their game and give more to? Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. What if that's actually what's going on now? I still think it's unlikely to dump this market, though. As much as I can say that, I still think I think this is a way to get retail from wanting to buy. I do. I feel like this is just another optic where retail's going to say, oh, this is bullshit. What the hell is the point of even buying? Because most people are only going to buy Bitcoin, or they're only going to buy certain things because they thought the strategic reserve was being built. They didn't know it was already built. Well, I mean, XRP's already in the reserve, and that's the whole point. The settlement, whatever that fine is, we already know the XRP. Let me just break it down. When that happened, XRP was somewhere around 50 cents, everybody. So you figure 125 million. I'm going to tell you right now what the value is, and you tell me if you think this is coincidence or something more. 125 million divided by, or what is it, 0.50, which means they would have about 250,000 shares that they put into escrow. Okay? It was worth 125 grand then. So 250,000 shares, which I think they have more, but let's just go based on that. At 120, right? Let's just say it's somewhere around 250,000. At the time, it was worth 125 grand. XRP right now is at $2.46. That's now worth $615,000. How convenient, right? How convenient, when the case was nowhere near being done, that they would just happen, Ripple, put it into an account, save for the government for when the time was right. And now that account that was worth 125 is worth over 600,000 right now. Who cares? That means you now hold a better asset, XRP. I fail to see it. I fail to see that argument, Orion, but I understand. Oh yeah, what am I talking about? You're right. Duh. How stupid am I? 200. I'm such an idiot. You're right. How stupid am I? You're absolutely right. I missed the number because I'm an idiot. Divided by, you're absolutely right. I knew it sounded weird. So 250 million XRP. That's better. Sorry. No, listen. Wales, Josie, Wales. Listen. I messed it up. 250 million. So 250 million shares, right? Just hear me out. 200, just a couple zeros. 200. So 250 million times 2.46. That's $615 billion. Is that what that is? No, that doesn't even seem right. This doesn't seem right. Yeah, 250 million. Yeah, that's right. Times 247. So that's like 617.5 million. That 125 million's worth right now. Now imagine, I mean, we're talking about the national debt, and this is only based on this 250,000 or 250 million XRP. So it gets to 10, that's 2.5 trillion. Gets to 20, that's 5 trillion. Gets to 50, that's 12.5 trillion. You know, you can start playing the numbers. That's what I'm saying, Heath. If the government's not going to buy it, why would anybody own it? I have a feeling Peter Schiff, as much as everybody laughs at him, is going to be so right in the end of this, we're all going to look and be like, uh-oh. Except we're not going to say uh-oh because we don't own Bitcoin or Ethereum. We own the actual utility tokens. I thought Peter Schiff's reaction to XRP being in a reserve was straight funny as hell for me because of who I am and what we do. He's like, what? I can understand, but some logic with people saying it's Bitcoin's digital gold. And he wasn't saying it was digital gold. He was saying he understands the people's argument if that's what they want to say. But he's like, what's the argument with XRP? Why the hell should we have a reason? It was so funny when he started talking about it. It was just comical. This still doesn't pass the smell test. This feels like we're still going up. Like, I have this strange feeling that this is all, there's a lot of optics going on here. Like, there's a lot of optics. This is great. What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. Like, what a time to be alive right now. That's why I follow you, because all these other people are fools and don't understand crypto. Heath, I appreciate that. I mean, I really, again, you guys, the volume of XRP is not the relevant part. So what, it's not relevant that they just handed the government $650 billion worth of XRP? And that's just the small cap part. You're only acknowledging the part that wasn't through donations. Where do you think those donations went? The U.S. Strategic Reserve, maybe? Remember when those donations were coming in? XRP's 38, 45, 47, 51, 56, 48, 49, 40 cents. We're not looking to see. This is what we do. We let the government off the hook way too much. I didn't say to be worried, everybody. Don't get it twisted. I'm just telling you what they did. You don't need to be worried. I own crypto. I'm not fucking worried. What I'm saying, though, is this is gonna cap where we can go. You can't just have it go up without buying. So if they're not buying Bitcoin and Bitcoin leads the market, how high can Bitcoin actually go? Although the devil's advocate here is, you want to hear the better part? If the government holds XRP, Bitcoin, how far do you think it's really going to drop? You think there's, just hear me out. We talked the good and the bad, but now that we know the government holds those XRP and what the reason for, do you think they're going to want the price to depreciate or appreciate? Now that we know that they hold that Bitcoin, do they want it to depreciate or appreciate? Starting to make sense now that this was maybe a little dump before a pump, huh? Hey, I had to go through the bad to get to the good, but there was a point to be made here. So I'm looking at this in the positive I can. Oh no, I was speaking your language the whole time, T-Parallel, but T-Parallel, sorry, I can't say it. But I was speaking your language. I just had to go through all the steps. I just wanted to go through all the steps, but I'm not worried. In fact, I think that this dump was something that we need to go into. Bingo, Don. That's the money shot of this live. Don just said it. Appreciate to pay off debt. And what easier way to pay off the debt if the government didn't have to buy any of it? No money in, and it's all pure profit to pay off the national debt. I mean, I could see it. And then if you combine it with the fact that, let's just say for whatever reason, oh, James, thank you so much for the $2 donation. Is DGB ready to break out? It's trying. It's very close. DGB needs to get over this 929 and hold. Once we get over 929 and hold, we would have an initial push up that we would come up to that 107, but it should bring us all the way back to the top here. There's not much resistance in this area. It's just that one area that we keep getting rejected by lately. It's that 929. I have a question. If this is good news for Bitcoin, why is it not pumping? What the hell? Did I really get 2 donations like that at the exact same time? Holy crap. That's never happened. In 4 years, that's never happened. Back to back at the exact same time. Wow. I just want to acknowledge. Thank you so much, Bandito, for that $49.99 donation. Also in Tom's Army for over a year with the I Told You So Bad. It says, zoom out, peeps. Brad hasn't been meeting up with Trump only to sit back and watch a tank. We got this, mark my words, mess like go green this weekend time. Yes, I agree with you. That's what we were working at to the very end of that point. I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree with you. That's a fantastic comment. And thank you for that donation. Like, holy. And then Jeffrey, thank you so much for the $50 donation. That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. Can I even do this? Would YouTube actually let me do this? No, it wouldn't. But seriously, thank you so much, Jeffrey. Not just for being in Tom's Army for a year, but that $50 donation. And then James Dula comes through and makes me the happiest person in the world today. He joins Tom's Army. What a beautiful person. What a beautiful soul. I know it's your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. That's beautiful. What a beautiful gesture. You know what's funny? I think my amp actually filled on that drop. I was talking to somebody before this happened, and I said, I'm curious about amp. And we were talking before that candle flipped, and it was up here. And I'm like, but I need it to come down and at least hit 4335 when I was talking to him on the phone or something. Or maybe it was a little bit lower. Mr. Bojangles, if you're watching. We were talking about this support, or possibly down here. I don't know. I might have filled because I put it at 43 something. I can't remember. That's a first. I was unsubscribed from Tom. Nader, you were unsubscribed. Oh, no. God bless you, Nader. Have a good night, my friend. Have a good night, my friend. Hopefully you sleep well. Have a blessed evening, seriously. But no, I'm sorry I scared some of you, but I was just going through, because you have to work through it, and we work through it, and then we have to come to the logical conclusion. The logical conclusion says if the government owns all this, what's the least option? What's the least likely option? It's probably not going to go down too far, the ones that they have. Hopefully. 5 billion at 8,000 pays the debt with 2 trillion left. Yeah, but it's not going to go to 8,000. That's unrealistic. At least at this point, Heath. And I understand that it does do that, and that's the overall. I'm hoping that that's what happens when we revalue money in a digital sense. But like in the short term, I don't want to say 8,000 is where we're going, but that's absolutely on point because it would leave some to spare. But unfortunately, that doesn't account for future spending. So yeah, there might be 2 trillion to spend and spare, but every 30 days they add $1 trillion to the national debt. So in 1 year, you're gonna have to add like 12 trillion, maybe more. Wales, Josie Wales, thank you so much for this $4.99 donation. In Tom we trust. Well, I trust this audience. Also in Tom's Army for over a year. Beautiful. Is AMP more short term? You know my story. James, thank you for the $2 donation as well. And real quick, thank you Up North Tickets as well for a $20 donation. You guys are super generous. Super generous. It is getting hot in here. It's getting spicy. If I wasn't in the middle of this hotel, I would, well, maybe I'm in the right spot then, aren't I? God only knows what's probably going around here. It's Thursday night. There's a couple bars around here. There's, God only knows. When the floors go a-creaking, you know, don't go a-sneaking. Let's see. With the AMP question, because I gotta go shortly because we got school tonight or tomorrow, and we got the 2 kids here. Yep, all the kids are in bed. See, I gotta go. I'm gonna come up there, Julie. I promise. I'm gonna come up there. This is the end of the show. But yeah, for AMP, I don't necessarily think it's a short-term play. If I could get it at the right spot where I think it's getting ready to pile out, I always buy it, sell it after a rally on BITUNIX, and then I just keep holding it. And the order was for like 715,000. I am almost confident that it filled on this freaking pull down. Isn't it funny? I was talking about it, and then there's Julie, that it was time for me to go. It's almost as if she was validating it for me. I think it filled. Well, that's going to be rather interesting. That was put there a little while ago. I didn't know it was going to come down there that quick. I was like, you know, maybe if it rides this, I would have it here, and then I could buy it. And then if it breaks down, oh, man, that put me in an awkward spot now because it didn't come all the way down. You know, it is what it is. I'm not going to sell it. Let's see what it did. We'll see how much I could potentially lose tomorrow. Remember, though, this is my BITUNIX holdings that I always have for AMP, and it built up over time. I lose some, I make some. There's no rhyme or reason for what I do with AMP. It's just I keep the money to the side. Oh, it sure did fill 705,000 AMP. Okay, so I'm in AMP right now. But if this exhaustion what gives away, I don't know. I'll have to see. We'll have to see. But it's gonna be a wild ride because that AMP, if this. And this is just for transparency. If that's a bear flag, that AMP's going to cost me like a couple $100 before I'll be able to get rid of it. But I still see, I'm just saying, worst case scenario that this is something like this and it gets rejected. Ooh, that would be pretty low. Best case scenario right now is this is actually bouncing off of this area and we find ourselves doing something kind of like this. And then we can be back up at this resistance. And then we can start to work. This is at the end of a descending wedge as well. So, but anyhow, I got to go, everybody. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you all for the donations. I'm going to continue to watch this. DGB seems to be more than just an outlier here. And we've been talking about how DGB is building a sneaky breakout here under the radar. And now since it started pushing up, it's up about 23% here. Ooh, boy. Not tonight, I am not. And not in the foreseeable future. But DGB in the 2 hourly looks like it's building some momentum. So we're going to look at this as maybe it was just a liquidity jump. So, but that might be a new meme, UB, when the floor's creaking. But thank you all. Have a blessed evening. Don't forget about BITUNIX with their little thing they have going on. If you leverage trade XRP and you click through the link that I have shown or if you've been part of it. But they have, besides being the lowest spot leverage trading fees, they also have a thing right now that you can make XRP depending on how much you leverage trade, yada, 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 so on and so forth. But we'll go into that later. I'm not too interested in talking more about it, but you can seek it out by clicking on the link and yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. But other than that, stay positive. Big day tomorrow with the Crypto Summit. We went through a lot of information here. Oh, that's funny. But we'll just have to, understand what's going on, that they're funding the government. But remember, the government doesn't like to lose money they have until they have already sold what they have. So we shall see. But have a blessed